I'll do now is I'll make sure that it is live on Facebook before we begin. Just don't trust it, that's the thing. So most relevant, and then it's newest activity. You go to, where are we? I can't see us. Nobody's watching. Is it there? Yeah, we're live. Okay, so we're live. All right, so we are on Facebook. I'm going to come out of that because I'm just going to get distracted if I'm on it. So, hi, welcome. And it's lovely to actually see you in person as well and actually get to know you a wee bit better this way rather than on Messenger. So, welcome to whoever is watching this as well on the replay. Let us know. But also, if you are going to dip in and out throughout the night, it's fine as well. We'll try not to keep you too long. But really, really excited to welcome Lucy here tonight for our second official episode of the Groomer's Corner. I am so excited about this episode, Lucy. It's just because it's such a niched part of the sector that you're actually in. So you run, is it Dinky Doodles Professional Grooming?
Yeah. And Dinky Doodles Professional Styling, and I'm actually mainly I'm a mobile dog groomer. If my guinea pigs are too loud in the background, say
I love
I might have to take the cardboard out. But that's the other side that I do. I actually started before I started grooming as little critter care, and I did sort of guinea pig and rabbit grooming mainly, which I still do now. Actually, I mean today, for example, 2 dogs, 2 rabbits, 2 guinea pigs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Not all days are like that. Some days it's just dogs, but sometimes it's just rabbits and stuff. But rabbit with a haircut and everything.
That's hilarious.
I moved areas, so I had to kind of start up the little critter stuff again. And recently I've started getting more of the rabbits that have got long hair and things like that. So that's really I mean, with my dog grooming, I specialise in doodles and I groom in home as well. So I'm mobile in home. And that's what I do with the rabbits and pigs as well. Sometimes in a salon, I rent a table sometimes, so sometimes they'll come to me on like a rabbit and guinea pig only session. Sometimes I even do hamsters occasionally if they need a nail trim.
It's nothing that's covered, like, though, is it? I mean, you don't go to your training centre or whatever and get told how to groom any other animal. It's usually just either cats or dogs or both, but never little critters. So what inspired you to start with little critters then? Is it because you were obviously an owner of guinea pigs and that was just something that you did?
Yeah, so growing up, I had a rabbit and I never had dogs or cats really. My mum had a cat like when I was very young, but never really had dogs at all. And that's not until recently. But rabbits. And then even when I was older, then that was when I got a hamster, like when I was about 20, and then guinea pigs, and then with hamsters and guinea pigs, they only live, hamsters like a couple of years and pigs 5 to 8 years. So you kind of just you go through quite a few of them. So I've had so many hamsters, that kind of thing. I don't know, I just always really liked them. I wouldn't even necessarily say I like dogs. I know people naturally sort of warm more towards dogs and cats and things, but I wouldn't necessarily say I like dogs more. I really still love my hamster.
So how many hamsters could you fit in a day then?
Hamsters. I've got this is my like little critter room. So I've got my 2 guinea pigs there, and then I have my hamster in his big tank over there. But I mean technically you could fit in a lot more than dogs, but of course it's a little bit more niche. Some people just don't know about me yet, or they're just finding out, or some people don't even know that they need to like do any sort of grooming with rabbits and guinea pigs.
I didn't realise that. Not until very recently. Sorry.
Yeah, mainly it's their nails. So nail trim, like similar to like a short-coated dog or something. They might just need their nails doing every now and then. And because I do that mobile and I do that with a lot of dogs as well, maybe they're you know, too nervous with the whole grooming process, I'll just go around, give them a nail trim, and that's it. So yeah, like the 2 guinea pigs today, they just had a nail trim, and of course like a health check as well, like you would with a dog, checking everything over. I check their teeth, check their ears, and just, I mean, a couple of months ago I found a lump in a guinea pig, and you know, have let the owner know. So I don't know what's happened with that yet, but
oh my god,
it's, you know, it's more than just actually trimming the nails a lot of the time as well. And you know, with rabbits and guinea pigs, there's still a lot of really bad information that's given out. You know, people buy rabbits and guinea pigs, they've given like the wrong information. And
well, on that topic, when I was doing some research in you misses, wait till I'm going to share my screen. Look what I came across. Right, so this is Lucy's website, and I was super excited to see that you've actually wrote a book.
Oh yeah,
on guinea pig care. That's insane.
Took me.
So tell us more about this. Tell me more about it.
That's really, I mean, again, it's just people are giving such bad advice, and it's not really their fault. And this is kind of like when I was young. I mean, this is like early 90s, mid 90s. We had this rabbit, and we got this rabbit from a rescue. And they gave the rabbit to us alone, said hutches were fine and everything. You know, that's from a rescue. But now that's generally from rescues, that's a big no-no. Like you would always have a rabbit in a pair, generally, wherever possible. Sometimes they can be a bit grumpy and it's a little bit hard to bond them, but generally you'll get a bonded pair. You know, lots of space, a hutch is not enough. And it's kind of the same with guinea pigs. People, they're very like typically like, oh, let's get an easy starter pet for kids or something.
Well, that's it, yeah.
But actually, quite often they're the worst possible pet for kids because they don't really want to be handled a lot of the time. And I mean, like with hamsters, they don't even want to, you know, they won't even be awake during the day. So that's just completely silly.
They're quite nocturnal. I remember a friend of mine in school, it was primary school, so we must have been, gosh, about 7 or 8 at the time. And I remember going around to her house and she had rabbits, but they were kept outdoors in a hutch, like you said. And I remember one day she didn't come to, it's not funny, but she didn't come to school. And as it turned out, one of them had escaped this hutch and had actually ate through all the wire of the house. But like I've read as well, like obviously I think it's quite common practice to have rabbits outdoors in hutches, but they obviously have got like similar needs to dogs as well in terms of enrichment and you know, like company and things like that. So it could be like an element of boredom as well. And so it's things that you don't really think about. Like I think there's still a lot of people out there that are quite outdated in their kind of approach, and they think, or you know, rabbits are, they're, you know, they're not that sentient. They don't really require that much. So they just put, you know, it's very simple. Like you say, it's an easy kind of starting.
But they totally are like my guinea pigs. I mean, they all have like totally different personalities. And one of my guinea pigs, who I haven't got anymore, she passed away. She was just like so loving. She was kind of like a dog in a guinea pig body. And like literally, like if I come in, like when I wake up in the morning, like my dog's going at me for food and everything, and the guinea pigs are squeaking downstairs. They want any food. They're like coming back to the cage and everything. And I've got Nugget that's like really shy. So they really can, like you can get a lot from them, but you really have to have a lot of patience. I suppose it's a little bit like having a rescue dog or something, and you know, you need to put a lot of work in, and eventually, you know, you'll get something back. But so in that case, nothing. He doesn't like me still.
Over the years working with them, Lucy, have you like picked up on kind of like typical like behavior cues and things like that you can maybe start to read little critters a lot better? Because that information doesn't seem to be out there either. And obviously I've not read your book, so I don't know what's involved in that book yet. I'll be buying it, by the way. But do you cover an element of behavior and things like that as well when it comes to
body language and noises? Oh, they have lots of different like body language. Some of the noises go with the movements that they do and what they mean. Some of them will be like, they do all sorts of weird stuff, and they really have like a big language, bigger than, I'd almost probably say bigger than a dog's language in that sense.
Really?
Like verbally, like all loads of different noises. There's like a little thing that they do where they sort of like wiggle their bums around and make like a it's called rumble strutting. They go and that's basically like one of them trying to boss the other one around and say I'm the best and that kind of thing, and they'll chase each other around.
It's honestly, it's incredible. It's so fascinating, and I think more and more groomers these days are starting to groom other animals, you know, kind of out with the status quo. I mean, I rescued a little pygmy hedgehog, an African pygmy hedgehog, and I remember picking up from the lady that was fostering at the time, and she said, you know, you realise that they do require regular grooming, and I was like, no, like I've never heard of it before. Like, no, how do you groom a hedgehog? So it was like pretty weird. It's like, but you know, honestly, all you need is a toothbrush. It's so funny. But it's even observing the hedgehogs. My son's called him Daniel the hedgehog. I thought they would pick maybe Sonic or something like that, but no, it's Daniel. So Daniel lives up the stairs. But no, I mean, even the body language and behaviors that he expresses as well is like incredible. And the hedgehogs huff as well when so it's like the funniest sound ever, and it's just similar, like, you know, just very similar approach that you would take for a dog, even though that it's a hedgehog. It's just very different, obviously, in terms of what signals are given off, but you just don't think about these things until you're actually faced with something like that, and you go, maybe actually we're not giving them enough credit, if that makes sense. But so how would you is there any scope for having like an introduction to critter grooming or anything like that in the pipeline for you? Because it seems to be the next stepping stone for you.
And I definitely think so, because I think a lot of groomers are probably, well, especially with rabbits, quite nervous about the idea, especially of like, it is kind of like going, you know, if you're a dog groomer, it's like going into cat grooming for some things. A lot of time the insurance won't cover you for a rabbit. People obviously don't always insure their rabbits. I mean, vet bills can easily still be in the thousands. I mean, I've just literally done a guinea pig claim on my insurance for her illnesses and things. So, you know, it's that side of things. Sometimes people think they don't want to touch a rabbit. And I see sometimes there's not much training around really, because that's kind of how I ended up getting into dog grooming. I looked up rabbit grooming. I was thinking, how can I learn a bit more about this? This is before I did dog grooming, because I thought I wouldn't have a clue where to start with, what clippers to get and what to do in terms of that kind of thing. This is like, we're talking long-haired rabbits, Angoras. You wouldn't use your clip, you know, a short-haired rabbit like dogs. And I found it really, really hard to find any sort of courses online. And a lot of people say, I'll go with, you know, maybe try and find a local breeder or something. And then I always get worried, right, who's teaching me, and are they going to have the right mindset about it? You know, like, do I want to be, maybe there's some breeders that are excellent with handling and that kind of thing, but I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm like, is the handling going to be correct, or is it like showing rabbits and that kind of thing, which is maybe not, I don't know, not my sort of thing. But I've had that struggle with dog grooming as well. Like I was like, I don't know if it's really my thing, because I'm very much like not into the idea of making them stand for ages and going.
You're quite holistic, aren't you? Just naturally by design. You are. Because I was reading your website and I was like, you're just amazing. You're great. And
then I found a nice place that does, you know, did the dog grooming course. I thought, if I learn this, maybe it'll help me with the rabbits as well. But obviously I can make a thing of the dog grooming as well. I used to be an art teacher before that. So
that's so random.
Crazy. But
so you're an artist as well then? That's amazing.
So I liked the idea of the styling, but I was always like had a mental like struggle with
what comes with that.
And then I got your book. I think someone must have recommended me, and I was like, okay, there is like a kind of
a different way of doing it. Probably just verified everything that you'd been thinking anyways. I've heard that from a lot of groomers. It had, like, they could have easily wrote the book. It's just, I think most of us are kind of looking for validation, aren't we? But like I say, I mean, if there is none, then you make it. So certainly a massive market for you to get in there and do that course, because who better, you know?
I know, and I mean, I've literally saw like a couple of courses recently, and one of them, they were talking about trancing a rabbit, and that's basically
doesn't sound good. I don't like.
No,
it doesn't sound good.
Like the only thing I can compare it to slightly is you know, like using the you know, things where you like hang the dogs
Calming cradle. Yeah, I had that in my head actually, thinking that does sound
like
that
sort of thing when you, because I've read what you said about luckily this is before I trained, I kind of had these things in my mind, so I was like, all right, I'm not going to use that, and so I've never really like had any experience with those, but it's kind of like that, but with a rabbit. So it's basically turning them on their backs, and a lot of people go, oh, this is the way to do it, this is great, because they'll suddenly stay really still. But yeah, it can kill them. So they'll go into literally like they could, and of course, like sometimes they do it and it's fine, like a lot of the time it's fine, which is what people do, and breeders do this as well, and they do it from a young age and it might be fine. This is where like it's dangerous if groomers think, oh yeah, I'll do the rabbit's nails or whatever, you know, watch a YouTube video and someone's showing them to hold a rabbit like that. Obviously, let's say they end up killing them or something, that would just not be good. So definitely like a course is probably a good idea for teaching
get on it. Definitely get on it.
Yeah, because it's just simple nail trim, and they basically sort of, it's like they're thinking that they will do that in a situation where they're going to seriously like be attacked by an animal or something.
Well, yeah, they're prey animals, aren't they? Yeah.
And it's like, so when they go into that position, it puts them into like that mental sort of panic mode. And rabbits can like really, you know, you could have fireworks and they're out in a hutch and they could die, you know, just from that. So they are quite sensitive, but at the same time, I actually find guinea pigs a little bit less sensitive, but guinea pigs have got their spines, think about them being more like a sausage dog, you know, their spines, they won't
elongated.
Yeah, where a rabbit will really jump up and down and can have various levels. Guinea pigs are very like all about one level, so you've got to be a little bit careful handling with their spines. Quite different to rabbits in that way. So yeah, lots of things to think about, but I mean, I'd much rather do a rabbit and guinea pig's nails over a dog's nails a lot of the time.
Why that?
I just find them easier. Like for me, if I get a dog that's not good with their nails, that's much worse than having a rabbit that's not good with their nails. I mean, today I had one. I went around to do the guinea pigs, and they had a rabbit as well. And I was like, "Oh, what do you do with the rabbit's nails?" And they're like, "Oh, we have to go to the vets." You know, like it's a whole big thing.
And that's quite stressful for them as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
taking them to the vets. Yeah,
and I mean, I remember going to the vets with my rabbit when I was younger, and it was this like massive ordeal. And even the course I've done, one of the ways they showed like trimming the nails, someone else holding and someone else trimming, and I was just think I can just do it, just me. I've never I really like the ones where people say that they're like a devil rabbit. That so I'm like, yeah, come on.
And then you're like, give me give me I'll show you.
Just have to just be calm with them. I don't know how to. Just I've obviously
energy
just over the years. Yeah, definitely that. I'm like, I just know that I can trim their nails. There's not really much. I mean, they can give you a good bite if they really want to, but I've never had a proper bite from a rabbit.
My mum. My mum. My mum was looking after our pygmy hedgehog when we went away for, I can't even remember where we were going, but we were going away anyways, and she was looking after him, and she just finished feeding the dog. So she doesn't even use a scoop or anything. My mum's she doesn't really know how to tend to animals, to be quite honest with you. She needs like a big massive instruction manual. But anyway, she was using her hands to scoop out the kibble for the dogs, and had then went to clean out the hedgehog's enclosure. And the hedgehog smelling food bit her finger. She's obviously panicked. Luckily, my little sister, she came to help as well. But It got really badly infected, actually. So she had to go to the doctors and get antibiotics and everything because he'd bit her. And she was like, that hedgehog's so vicious, it bit me. And I was like, no, they don't see their line of defense isn't to bite. I says their line of defense is actually their spikes are their defense. This is the only reason why he's bit you is because he can smell food.
Yeah.
He honestly doesn't bite at all. Like, hedgehogs don't bite. That's not their defense.
I've had similar pet hamster of mine once. They, like this hamster, I was like, this is the nicest hamster ever. Never. It's like really, really sweet. And we had a friend come around and we told them this and they put their hand in. Just went straight and properly drew blood, like throbbing. Hamster bites are the worst. Guinea pigs,
they're so sharp, aren't they? The teeth.
Yeah. Guinea pigs generally are not nippers, or rabbits really. I mean, I suppose you would probably really have to push them, and even doing their nails, I just find that they don't. You kind of, when they decide to kick their foot or shift around, just let them do it. Just let them shift around, have a moment, stroke them. They actually, because they naturally groom each other, they're quite good with that grooming process, like brushing and things. They can actually find it really relaxing and not a stressful process. Like, I don't know, a dog that's naughty will find it stressful being brushed and that thing. It's quite in their nature to be okay with it, especially I suppose when I'm in their house and
I think that makes the biggest difference, doesn't it? If you're in their own home environment and they're used to the smells and they're used to the space around them, it's going to be a lot less stressful for them.
And actually, the owners get more stressed, I think, from the travelling or the concept of travelling, and the amount of owners that don't put off going to the vets to do it because of how stressful it's going to be, and let the nails get a little bit too long. It'd be great if more groomers willing to do some mobile trips to help
people. Do you ever find yourself going to a house for a dog, for example, and saying, do you happen to have any little critters that might need their nails done?
Quite often. With 2 dogs, and then I had 5 guinea pigs.
You're joking.
Yeah,
so that's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's handy for them because they're like, sometimes they go, I didn't realise you did these little critters and stuff. I'm like, it's worth making. Sometimes I have to make sure that I actually make a point of saying it because it's a bit like selling is always a bit awkward, or you don't really, we don't go into dog grooming because we love selling, but actually letting people know, because it actually really helps them out a lot of the time, and they're really grateful that you've managed to save them a whole trip of taking 5
the ordeal.
Yeah.
Are there any groomers near you that do little critters at the moment, or is it just you?
Because I've asked others about rabbits once. I had a really matted rabbit a couple of months ago, and I was asking quite a few of us local groomers having a WhatsApp group, but no, none of them had. I suppose none of them had learned it, unless it's one of those things, unless someone kind of has bred rabbits in the past, and long-haired rabbits, or knows someone or that kind of thing. That's kind of the way typically people get into it.
If you've got one as a pet as well, I suppose you've got no other option but to do it yourself. So when it comes to grooming little critters, then what's the kind of frequency of grooming for? Are they all different? Depends on, obviously, if it's a guinea pig, a hamster, a rabbit.
Most of the guinea pigs and things, about a 6 weekly nail trim, so similar dogs. So most of them I'd say about 6 weeks. I know typically people might have a pet plan where they take them to the vets once a year, or
for their checkup and things.
But I mean, in my opinion, that's too long. A lot of the rabbits that I see that have gone that long, they're too long, and it's the same as dogs, as in if they get too long, it can massively affect them walking around and that kind of thing.
Posture and things.
I mean, even with rabbits and guinea pigs, their teeth even grow as well. So they really have to.
It's like rats as well. They just keep growing, don't they? So do they have to wear them down as well then, Lucy?
Yes, with hay.
Is that what that's for? That's how ignorant I am. I'm like, yes, I got it.
Hay is at least 80% of their diet.
That's insane.
But and not that many pellets. So massive hay, a little bit of pellets, a little bit of fresh vegetables, rather than having like loads. Some people just, you know, will do loads of pellets and like a little bit of hay or something. But yeah, it's just loads and loads and loads of hay. So yeah, equally, you know, they, especially rabbits digging and that kind of thing. And of course, if they've been domesticated, their nails really, really grow. Sometimes, depending on the situation, like maybe if they have like part of their enclosure is concrete or something, they might wear them down a little bit more often. Same, like again, similar with dogs. You know, you get some dogs where you just hardly ever need to do their nails.
Yeah, my Tibetan Mastiffs, I've never had their nails trimmed ever, and even their dew claws are absolutely fine. It's insane. I don't get it. I'm so thankful because they're like that thick, but I've never had to do them. It's so curious.
But with, I'd say most guinea pigs and rabbits, they grow a lot, and the same thing, like the quick can carry on growing in with it if you don't keep on top of it. And guinea pigs, their feet will start going really like curled, and they kind of go a little bit curled as they get old anyway. But so if you keep on top of it early, like that's good, because once a quick starts going long, it will just mangle up.
That starts going deformed, and that's like hedgehogs as well. You have to trim their nails quite regularly. And it's honestly, it's quite
one for me to learn about at some point.
I'm telling you, it's and I think they're quite common in America, pygmy hedgehogs. And I don't know if they've been imported over here, and now suddenly there's like an influx of them here. But I mean, my sister and I both rescued at the same time. She got an African, she got an albino one. It was the cutest thing ever, and he was very good at getting his nails trimmed. But Daniel, he's a work in progress. He likes to hide under your sleeves, so you can't wear sleeves when you're doing anything, because as soon as he gets under there, you panic, because you think if he gets a fright and he spikes, how are you going to get him out your sleeve?
Actually, like I used to have like a hoodie or something, and that would be like my rabbit nail trimming thing, so that they could tuck their head in. That's one of the best things,
cocoon themselves,
and then you can get around and do that, and it just calms them down. Like most of the time I'll bring a towel with me to kind of put over their heads and just
I'll maybe try that then. I bet you that'll make all the difference. Going up the stairs to wake them up.
Their head's there, and I kind of learned that when I did when I was volunteering at the Fox Project, which is sort of like RSPCA for foxes. And we had to move them pens, and that always used to scare me. But we used to just put a towel over their heads, and that would just kind of like set
calm them down a little bit.
And then be safe and not bit. They're actually not very vicious anyway, foxes, but
I know they look dead. They look really placid, don't they? They're quite small as well, urban foxes. Honestly, but there's so much, like, you've got so much knowledge about little critters, so I definitely do think that a course is definitely something you should be doing. I'll take it just for Daniel up the stairs, because I think it will be quite similar for him. But what is so what's your favorite kind of animal species to groom then? Is it little critters, or do you prefer dogs to little critters? Or
I mean, I suppose I have certain dogs that I like to groom, and it's not necessarily the breed. My kids are going crazy.
I know, they're like, you're talking about me, hi.
It's because they got like all the paper that goes in the Amazon boxes like chucked in there, so they were running around.
Is this enrichment for them then? That's
brilliant. No, I love it when I have guinea pig and rabbit nail trims. Like that's one of my favorite things to do. And like my dog grooming is pretty booked up, so I can squeeze in a nail trim at the end of the day and that kind of thing. But
why doodles? Why did you decide to specialise in doodles then? Explain that, because obviously many groomers hate it. Many are like, no groomer, no doodles.
Why
do you love them?
Well, so when I trained, that was, which was, when was it? Only start of last year. I finished my training.
You trained?
Yeah, for dog grooming, and I'd been doing the little critter stuff before this. When I trained, it mainly was doodles, and hardly any. I mean, it was iPet, not low. And I guess my training provider had said that they kind of changed the course because there was less breed standards nowadays, and that's true. I've hardly, at least down on like southeast to southeast, you can get. And I've always like kind of specialised in a particular thing, because I'd rather be good, like particularly good at
one thing.
or a certain area or whatever it is. Like when I was doing the pet sitting, it was little critters. It's easier for people to spot you if they're looking for a particular thing, because I only get worried about about finding a groomer for their dog as well. So yeah, I just thought I'm just going to get really, really good with Doodles. And of course I have loads of other breeds as well. I don't really, because I go into people's houses, I generally do haircuts. And I like
do they
that.
bath before then as well?
No, I do.
You do all. Good for you. Yeah. Good for
I
you.
bring my table along and a massive like chest of stuff. I feel like I have to dry. I mean, sometimes, occasionally, like I might not bath and dry. Maybe the dog's like elderly, and I'll just come around, clip it off, and that kind of thing. So I guess I adapt it, but definitely not really that many double coated breeds, because it would just go everywhere.
You picture them, can you?
Yeah, that's why I do generally tend to do dogs with haircuts, and most of them are Doodles. I have a particular way of doing them, and
you've got a protocol. I wrote it down. Kind.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about kind. How does that go?
So actually,
I'll try and get it up on your thingy.
I'm going to get it. I'm reading about it.
That's so bad. Wait a minute, I'll try and find it for you. Wait, what would it be on? What page is it on your website again? So I did see it a minute ago. Because guys, it's lovely. It's such a nice one as well.
It's in my, I think it must be my belt.
About. Oh gosh.
You know what? I don't really think my page is working very well. Anyway, it's it's kind. K stands for kindness, individual, natural, and doodle specialist. So essentially kindness being like the forefront of what I'm doing, and centered around that. So obviously like the styling is a part of it, but firstly to
it's very holistic. I just remember it's annoying me I can't find it now, but I was like, such a nice way to break it down and actually explain your process, because it was just a really nice way of doing it. It's easy to remember, and I'm terrible with remembering things.
I
remember that
stuff recently as well. An individual, every dog's treated individually, so you can't just be like,
I can't find that. I'm going to take it off because it'll but so
nothing can really be done. I mean, I know a lot of the time when you train to do like everything in a certain order, but you can't really be rigid about that.
Methodology goes out the window when you start your business, and you have like so many groomers still get like so stressed about this method of grooming, and rather than just taking a step back and going, right, okay, what can I work with? What's the dog allowing me to work with? And let's just go with that, because the longer we have that dog in the kind of like, a relaxed state, the better this is going to go, rather than going for the thing that's the worst. And most people start with the feet and things like that, and that's just instantly going to set them into overdrive.
Definitely the hygiene area in the pads first. Like I kind of just don't do that at all now. I'll start like clipping. Sometimes you're going to just warm up like really early on. Like today, it was just all in a completely weird order. The one dog that I did, and then I found when I started doing that, I was like, right, I have to really think, because I think I haven't done it in my normal way that I would remember the tail at the end or whatever. But
you have to take a step back and look and go, what's left to do?
Like be patient, and like you say, take a step back, and kind of, I suppose
I'll never forget. Sorry.
I was going to say same with the rabbits and stuff, really. Like in which I'm doing things and having to switch it up and thinking, right, no, he's had enough of that now. Or I mean, that matted rabbit that I did a couple of months ago, I think I did 3 visits, like bit by bit, because it was like tight matting. I know someone's asked about matting on the throat.
Wow, I'm too engrossed in you. I'm not even looking at the comments.
Someone's asked, how would you get the matting from their throat? I had a rabbit a few weeks ago.
There you go.
I've had that as well. Actually, today, even the rabbit, he had a tiny little thing right under his lip, really stuck on, like sort of food. I mean, I get the owner to help hold with that kind of thing if it's a matted. Most of the time you can do a rabbit on your own, but quite often having the owner help is really helpful, unless you have a nice groomer with you. But yeah, so this is where some people might be tempted to put them on their back or something and hold them in a funny way. But you can kind of hold sort of around here and lift up. And it's really about judging, like, you know, just feeling them and feeling their tension and stuff, and knowing, I suppose, like with a dog, you kind of know when they're going to suddenly do a movement or something, and you have to be like quick at pulling away. They have really delicate skin, rabbits. So if you don't feel comfortable doing it, like, refer it to a vet. And that's if the vet will do it, right? Because
what do you find that they don't?
I get a few clients saying they've asked their vet about grooming, and they might say the vet might say that maybe, I mean, this is what I've heard, but the vet has said rabbits don't need grooming, or, you know, they're thinking maybe of like a short haired rabbit. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily take your vet to like maybe you know, like de-shed a rabbit or something, because they get like quite like huskies and things, they get all those big bits of hair sort of hanging out, like desperate to be removed and that kind of thing. So maybe they're thinking of that, but there's Angora and longer haired rabbits are less common, but
they do require grooming.
As soon as you get one in the area, like, there'll be others around. Someone's breeding, or I'm sure some come from, you know, the big pet chains, and people don't necessarily realise a lot of the time. Quite a few of my clients haven't realised they're going to be really long haired. They have no idea that it's going to be like that. Same with guinea pigs as well. That can happen because, you know, they're quite.
If you go into pets at home, there's quite a lot of really long-haired rabbits. They just look like walking like broomsticks or mops. They're like they're so hairy.
And I bet that they're not told anything about having to like do haircuts and stuff or keep them brushed. I mean, it just keeps growing. They just keep growing because in theory, like Angoras, they're bred to just produce coat to be clipped like a sheep, basically. So it's just going to grow.
So is there an element of trimming then for those sorts of rabbits? Do you have to?
Today I did. We don't know what he is. He's probably a mix of some sort of Angora or like a lion head or something, but sometimes they need proper haircut, and that obviously might be.
I didn't even know that.
Never a bath with rabbits, never ever a bath, unless a bum bath. Guinea pigs you can get away with a bath, but I'd always ask why the person wants them to be bathed, because, you know, do you really want to do it if it's not really that necessary? Like, I've had some of my guinea pigs that I've bathed and some not. Like, depends what they're like, if they get dirty or not. Like, based on what they're doing. But firstly, if someone says so, you know, they want you to bathe their guinea pigs, like, what's their enclosure like? Because is it going to just get like that again? Is it actually dirty enclosure? In which case, like, I've had a couple of rabbits before, guinea pigs before, that were like really filthy. Enclosure probably wasn't really that clean. So of course, it's sort of nice to give some advice, or obviously I can just give them my guinea pig book, which helps.
That's it. No upsells.
But it's something to sort of like educate them, because a lot of people just don't know. I always just assume people don't know or have been given the wrong information. That's honestly usually what it is. It's not that people are trying to be cruel to their animals or anything. But then you could bathe. Bum bath. Someone's commented. Bum bath is okay with rabbits.
Of course you can. Whoever said that, you can recommend this chat to anybody. It will be available on YouTube as well for you to share to as many people as you want. Please just share it to everyone that can benefit. And also upsell Lucy's book.
So guinea pigs you can get away with. Really, really bathe. Really make sure they're dry afterwards. That's with all of them. But rabbits, they've got a little bit more chance of getting too cold, and basically if you completely wet them, you probably wouldn't be able to dry them quick enough all over to prevent like a serious issue. Same with guinea pigs, make sure you dry them properly. But sometimes, I mean, what's it, the other week I had like some rabbits get loads of poo stuck to their bum. And then so like quite often, I mean, you kind of have to be prepared. If you're going to go around and do a rabbit's nails, for example, you might end up coming across a problem like, oh, they're really matted, or they've got like a really pooey bum or something. You might have another thing to do that you weren't expecting. You can use like a warm flannel, gradually ease it off. And quite often like a bit of a hygiene trim around the area to prevent it happening again, because you've always got to think like owners and practicality, and quite often they didn't realise that it was going to be a situation where they were going to have to like brush their rabbit all the time or whatever, because no one's told them that they're going to have to do this, and they don't even know what breed they've got pets at home anyway. So it's not like they could research certain rabbit breed and how to keep them. They've just searched rabbits, and most of the time they won't tell you about giving them haircuts and keeping them tangle free, because just like dogs, they can get matted to the point where it's like super tight on their skin and everything. Like really, like I swear it gets tighter. Honestly, I think it's even worse on rabbits than dogs sometimes, and their skin is so delicate.
Maybe are their hair fine? Is it kind of fine to touch? I've never even touched a rabbit, I have to be honest.
I'd say it's probably similar to cats, like you've got the different coats, or you might have like a Maine Coon that's got that really long hair. Any cats that hair just continuously grows? I don't know actually. I'm assuming not, but with the rabbits, it's very like woolly, very fine, and like your normal dog clippers will not go through them either. At least
what clippers would you recommend using for groomers that are already maybe grooming critters?
I think I was taught that you should have it's changing the blades, so you want like a blade, a ceramic blade. Someone recommended me Guineas, which are from the US. I think I bought them on Amazon in the end. They're like 30 quid, and they go through.
Yeah, are they gold maybe? Are they gold and black?
A little bit of gold. Yeah. I think I reckon it's probably the cheap ones probably work, which is really weird. But it's worth a go.
But I use cheap ones from Amazon for a lot of matted dogs as well, because I feel as though they're first of all, the ones that you get on Amazon that are like 30, 40 quid tend to be so much quieter, and I don't know why that is, but they do seem to be quieter. There's also, if you see the wee paw pad trimmers, and it's always like a rabbit or a guinea pig that's on the adverts for that. And they're tiny, tiny, tiny little blades like that size. But again, really good for the likes of like matting behind like really sensitive parts like ears, hygiene. Like that girl was our person that said about the matting at the throat as well. It could probably do that as well. But again, they're advertised for little critters. So I don't even know if you're the expert there, but maybe I'll send you the link. And
usually cats. The ones that I've definitely tried are the Guineas, which definitely work. They go through really nicely. But again, I might come across a rabbit one day that's got funny, different kind of fur, because they have slightly different coats like dogs anyway. And then they'll have like the sort of undercoat in it as well. So it'll be growing long, but have the undercoat. So that will build up. So sometimes actually it's like sort of like that Pomeranian hair when it kind of seems like it's matted, but like if you blow it out, it will kind of just come apart. Sometimes it just seems really dense, and actually if you just like separate it and brush, it's fine.
A good thing for that as well, cornstarch, just a wee bit of cornstarch sprinkled on the coat, and it helps to break through that, because we get it a lot with Tibetan Mastiffs as well, and the amount of groomers, in fact, and it does look like matting, and it's just compacted. And it's not the same as dematting. I have to like say that as well, like just in case people are thinking I'm advocating for dematting, because I'm not. But you can tell the difference between proper mats and just like compacted dead fur that just needs to be eased out a wee bit. But cornstarch is seriously, it's really good.
Also on the dematting thing, it's also, you have to think about if you're going to shave a rabbit down to the skin and their environment they're in with like sharp hay and straw. And and weighing it up, you have obviously, of course, like I've had to really, really clip rabbits way shorter than you want to be, and they're outside. You also need to tell the owners, assume they don't know, but they need to keep them extra warm and that kind of thing. They're going to be outside, so you have to think about everything. And some cases, maybe you do just put a bit of cornstarch and just ease something out. It's not really because when they've got like little bits of wood shavings and things in their enclosure, they get tangled in stuff.
As long as you're not causing the animal any pain, and I think they're all quite good at identifying when an animal's in pain as well, and it's just gauging it that way. But no, totally get it. I didn't even think about things like that as well, like hay and how that might interfere with the skin, and there's just so much to actually think about.
Because hedgehogs, you can keep them inside in the warm, and
exactly, and they've got jumpers and things, and
phone on them, all that kind of stuff. But with rabbits,
a wee rabbit jumper.
No.
Hedgehogs, they quill twice a year as well, so they let loose of all their quills, and then they have more quills, they grow more quills.
Right.
So during that process they've got quite dry skin, so they recommend you bathing them with oats, so it's like an oat bath. It can be quite good for skin. Like obviously we use it in dogs as well, like through your shampoos and stuff, but like I just get literally like wee like cotton bags, and then I fill them with natural oats, and then I'll dab his skin with that when he's quilling, and that just soothes the irritation of him. It's kind of like shedding, but it's obviously quills. So there you go. Hedgehogs.
Hedgehog book, I think.
And they're so cute. If you actually look at it on, like, see on Instagram as well, there's loads of them, and they're like so friendly, and like literally like belly rubs and like all sorts of things going on. Mine don't do that, to be fair. Daniel's not like that at all. He's very much like, don't touch me. But there are ones out there that are just like really loving and actually do like that human interaction. It's just incredible to see like pets that are not dogs behaving like dogs. It's like so bad that you're like why shouldn't they behave that way? We've not caught up yet, have we, with other species? Which is a shame.
A different way of showing it, basically.
Yeah, it's insane. But no, honestly, I'm absolutely fascinated with your whole business. I couldn't believe it, honestly, when I was reading through it all, and I was like, she's got a book, it's amazing. I had honestly so much to learn from you, Lucy. And I'm sure that everyone watching this in the replay as well will be equally as like surprised at just how much information there is to be learned when it comes to little critter. I know I've got a couple of students in the HCA that also groom critters, so I'm hoping that they're watching this evening. If not, I'll be telling them to because it's just such an important thing to get right, I think. But yeah, if there's one piece of advice you could give a groomer who's maybe thinking about getting into little critter grooming, what would it be?
Definitely do it, because I think a lot of people really need the help with their little critters, and they don't really know where to go, and make sure that you advertise it. And that bit of advice can't really go without saying. Definitely learn about it first, especially with rabbits and clipping off rabbits and things, and do your best. Refer to a vet, when you can. But there's a little bit about guinea pig grooming in my book as well, which is actually, it comes with you can download a free video guide on literally everything about a nail trim. So you could like everything from what to use if you cut the quick, how to avoid cutting the quick, how to handle them in all the different ways, and because some will prefer being handled in a different way to another, and how you can move their joints as well, like
because teeny weeny.
And how they that thing.
Unbelievable.
Guinea pigs, you can get long haired and all sorts. I had a long curly haired guinea pig once. And he was really cute. I used to give him haircuts.
I had a friend, I had a childhood friend, and she had canaries. This is dead random, but it's not really right. But I swear to goodness, these canaries had actual hair, like proper, like wigs looking hair. Like seriously, they did. And I always used to ask, like, do you have to brush that? Do you have to brush their hair? And she used to laugh at me, but now you think maybe you should have been brushing it. Have you ever seen them? Honestly, look them up on Google, because I told my husband about it a few months back, and he's like, absolute lies, like birds don't have hair. And I was like, I swear to God, they do. And if you look it up on Google, you can find them, canaries with like wig hair. It looks like hair.
I'm going to look this up.
I'm not crazy, because that's going to be the next thing. I'm going to end up interviewing you for that, because you'll be like, proper exploring it. Yes, you do need brush.
I know, you got me thinking about hedgehogs now. I might have to look into.
By the way, seriously look into it, because I think because a lot of people are a wee bit frightened, even people that are maybe novice owners like me, that came into, like, I took him home thinking that there was nothing really involved in it other than feeding them and cleaning his enclosure out and giving them kind of free time to roam about and whatever. When the lady that fostered him told me I had to obviously groom him, I hadn't a clue, and it's trying to overcome that fear aspect as well, because they run really fast as well, hedgehogs. So if they get spooked, they actually lift their entire body up, and they've got really long legs, and they just run. You think, oh my God. And the first time you witness it, it's petrifying, because you could not catch them. You couldn't. So it's just things like that. So there are people out there that maybe are struggling and they don't know that service is available. And if you certainly were to start advertising hedgehog grooming, I'm pretty much sure that you will have people coming to you for that, definitely. And they say, that hedgehogs are quite nocturnal as well, which I've not really found with Daniel, which is strange. Like, he'll come out through the day every so often, which is really curious, because they're not really meant to. Obviously, they're meant to do everything at night time. So again, it kind of breaks that, that everything you think is kind of not the case. Like, every animal's different.
Yeah, that's the thing with rabbits as well. Actually, they're crepuscular, so they're more active at dawn and dusk.
Right.
I suppose that could potentially affect grooming as well, as in they're going to be more like sprightly in early morning and late evening, I suppose. And more relaxed during the day. That's why a lot of people, they'll put them out in the run during the day, and they won't really move, just because it's not really their time to be moving. People aren't up early enough when rabbits do really want to be going up and stuff like that. So.
Loads to think about. Things you should be putting in your course. Do they keep bugging you now? I'm going to email you every so often. When's that coming out? When's it coming out? No, thank you, Lucy. I was honestly only planning to have you on for 30 minutes, but we've had so much to talk about. It's almost an hour now. It's insane, isn't it? Poor people listening. Like, oh my God. You could honestly talk forever, though. See, once you get into it, I was the same with who was it before? Alicia. I think it was Alicia. Alexia. I spoke to her for about an hour as well. I was like, honestly, you just could keep talking and talking and talking. It's so nice to connect with people from everywhere as well. It's amazing. But yeah, so if anyone wants to contact you, what's the best place to do it?
I have the Dinky Doodles website, so that's dinkydoodles.co.uk and /contact. But little critter stuff, I actually get requests almost every day from like everywhere, people asking me, like Wales, asking me to trim their guinea pig nails. So I must be coming up on Google somehow, but that's littleCritterCare.co.uk.
Okay.
But both ways are pretty good, but the Little Critter Care is Little Critter Care specific.
And your book's on Amazon?
Yes, book is on Amazon. That is the Happy Healthy Guinea Pig Guidebook. You can get it on Kindle for like £2, and it's got the grooming information in it and the free video and stuff. So yeah.
Right. Well, what to do is, after you come off this, just pop everything onto the thread so that everyone's got easy access to it. Because I'm pretty sure that after this conversation, they'll either want to learn from you or refer you on to people that they know with little critters, because so it's worthwhile.
I'm based like in Deal, Kent, like southeast as you can get much as far away.
Oh my God. That's me as well in Scotland. There's barely anyone here. I feel like I'm on my own. I heard that. Did you not see you had like a community like groomers group as well though on Facebook? Oh no, on WhatsApp was it?
Oh yeah, like that's just us local. Yeah, local in the town.
Yeah, that's great. So we don't have anything like that. We don't have it. Scottish people are dead rude.
I was gonna say,
We'll hate each other.
down this part of the south for some reason, like in our little town. But yeah,
that's
I know
so
it's
nice.
always like that in grooming. So yeah.
Well, that's it. I'm going to go around to every groomer in my area and go, we're adding each other on WhatsApp. But anyway, no, thank you very much for joining me tonight, Lucy. I was honestly looking so forward to this conversation and it hasn't disappointed. I'm sure that everyone is going to find it very helpful. But like I say, if there's any questions at all that you have for Lucy and you're watching this back in the replay, don't worry. You can either pop the questions here and tag her because she is in our Holistic Groomers group, but also you can contact her directly via our website, which she'll put details on just shortly as well for you guys. But no, thank you so much, Lucy, and I'll let you go for a cuppa or whatever it is you're going to do now. Probably some guinea pig grooming.
Yeah, I forget to do my own guinea pig's nails most of the time. But yeah, thanks for having me, chatting to me this evening.
It was a pleasure. It was so nice to connect to you. But anyway, have a lovely evening and thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll see you later.
Cheers.
Bye.